We have a really good presentation with Rudra Pandey and Jeff Gasser of Deerwalk today. And just in a couple of moments, the ambassador is going to come down, Ambassador Bodde is going to come down and give them an introduction. So sit tight for just a couple minutes while he brings his way down, and then we get started with our presentation. Thanks for coming, everybody.
All you young people here in the, inside the embassy, one of the things that we've been doing a lot with the youth group is I've decided that one of the most important things we can do for all of you is to mentor you, provide you access to a group of people and leaders that you might not ordinarily have access to. And one of the reasons I am lucky enough to become an ambassador is when I was coming up and I was your age, I had access to a lot of people who gave me a lot of advice, showed me what they did, and I learned from them and what I could do take away from their experiences. So we're going to be spending a lot more time, as we do through a lot of your programs, doing a lot more mentoring. Today we have two people from Deerwalk, and so I get the names pronounced right, Rudra Pandey and Mr. Jeff Gasser. And they are true entrepreneurs. They're going to tell you about what they've done here. I think Mr. Gasser will probably be able to explain a lot about what it's like to be an entrepreneur with one foot in each culture, or two cultures, or three cultures, maybe four.
Yeah.
And that presents some special challenges. And if anyone walks out that door and hasn't learned something from these two incredible gentlemen, you've wasted their time and your time. So everybody, with that, please, our colleagues from Deer Park. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jeff Gasser. So glad to be here today. So following up on the ambassador just said, I'm actually going to start with a question. How many of you want to be successful? I figured I'd get all the hands on that one. So how many of you have defined what success means to you? Less hands. So the first step to being successful is you have to define what that is. So I remember I've started 5 companies. I've just started 2 with Rudra. And the first one, I had a very different idea of what success meant than by the time I got to the second, third, fourth. I thought success was making a lot of money. That's really what I wanted to do. When I was 23 years old and I was starting my first company, I just frankly wanted to be rich. And then that company turned into such a struggle and so many hurdles that I finally got to the point where I thought, God, I would give up any money I could ever make from this as long as it would be successful. And I learned a really big lesson there. And so that became a struggle, and then I decided to try to start another company. And I remember one day I got in a big fight with my mom, because my mom, here I was trying to start companies, and my mom would look at me and say, can't you just get a job? Can't you let's just go work for somebody? And I remember this very difficult conversation. And at the end of it, I think I was 26 years old, so I'm right about in the middle of where you guys all are, 26. I hung up and I grabbed a piece of paper and I wrote down some words. Now, it's funny, I can remember doing this like yesterday. I've never read these words to anybody other than you guys. So this is what I said. When you do what you want, not what others expect, and you realize the significance in your insignificance, and you act for the good of the greater whole. When you learn money's not the game, but only the score, and you understand the frailty of possessions and the reason you have them. When you discover both sides are right and no one is wrong, and it's okay to be not okay. When you make friends of enemies, and you sacrifice your ego, and you swallow your pride. When you know failure is but not to try, and setbacks become temporary and ambitions become permanent. When you relentlessly strive and you finally understand why, you will know success. So my title is called Your Dash. You'll understand it in a while. We got some of our guys here. They're used to me sort of rambling on and where are you going with this, and they'll tell you I generally pull it together at the end. So I told you my definition of success. This one was credited to Winston Churchill. I didn't do the research, but I believe it's true. And then success is the ability to go from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. I used to think when I was your age that successful people did everything the right way, right? They always made the right choices. Successful people make the most mistakes. So, to use a soccer analogy, and I don't know much about soccer, but there's a guy up at the front that makes all the goals, right? The striker. Do you know the guy who missed, you know in soccer when somebody misses a wide open shot and they go, oh my God, how'd you miss that shot? You know, who misses the most shots? The same guy that makes all the goals, right? So you got to be willing to miss shots, and miss, and miss, and miss. So I want to tell you a little bit about things I wish I knew when I was young. And I'm sure you've all either got great educations or in the middle of getting a great education. What I would tell you is education is great, right? Everybody should get as much education as they can. Let me preface what I'm about to say with I'm all for it. Get a master's, get a doctorate, because you'll always earn a living. However, personal skills are far better. This is the one thing you must know. Personal skills, if you have great personal skills, you can become a tremendous success. I remember my boss one day when I was a CPA coming into my office, and he said, you know, if you're a great CPA or a great accountant, you'll make a living. If you're an average accountant with a great personality, you'll be very successful. So never overlook the importance of developing your social skills. Again, education is great. The most successful person I ever met personally only went to school to the 4th grade. And he amassed a fortune of $500 million. Now, I'm not recommending that. I'm just saying that he had an unbelievable force of personality. And that's what you can accomplish. And so just like your education, which you should continue for the rest of your life, you should realize that these personal skills are a lifelong endeavor too. So don't be a one-track person, be a two-track person. And you must always learn to be part of a team, right? Because you can only do so much by yourself. And one of the great things about the United States, I don't think in Nepal, from what I can see, you get as much of it. In the United States, we have, in school, there's a lot of sports and things like that, and so kids learn to play on teams, from my experience, more than you get an opportunity to here. So it's working together, and it's the collective work, so that 1 + 1 = 3. That's really the skill you need to learn, is how to be part of a team, and then eventually how to lead the team. But the first part is learning how to be part of the team. And this is really important. I have a son that's 23 years old. So he thinks I'm stupid when I tell him this. So hopefully you won't think I'm stupid. The truth of it is, when you meet somebody new, like you're trying to meet them in business, or you're trying to get a job, or you're trying to do anything, in 15 seconds, they're going to make a judgment about you. Maybe 10. I'm going to be generous and say it's 15 seconds. All right? So you got to make sure that you're ready for that 15 seconds, because you may never overcome it if it's a bad first impression. And despite all your, all your charms and all your best efforts, sometimes for whatever reason they just don't like you. You just got to get used to that. But know that that's going to happen. If there's one thing you remember from today, remember that. So you may not realize it. If I asked you if you're all in sales, you'd say, no, I'm not in sales. I don't do sales. You're all in sales, right? We're all in sales. Rudra has a line. He said, because we have 170 employees. We have about 185 in total. And they don't realize that they're all in sales. Well, no, I'm not in sales. I'm an engineer, or I'm not in sales. I do this. And Rudra says, there's a word for small entrepreneurial companies where everybody is not in sales. It's bankrupt. We're all in sales. We're all trying to I mean, think about everybody that's successful in any endeavor in your life, right? I mean, let me think about, here we are in the embassy. Our president, President Obama, and every president before him, right? They have all sorts of educational skills, they're smart, they've got all this stuff going for them. But why them? Why them not? There's lots of guys really smart, all this, you could look at the resume, and put them all together, and there's 100 people like that. So why President Obama? Because he's got sales skills. So does every world leader. Look at all the people that are successful in any walk of life. They have everything they bring in, and then they know how to sell themselves. They all do. And so I can't impress upon you the importance of learning how to sell yourself to others. Very important. And I think that's the one thing in working with our staff here in Nepal that I work on the most is, becoming more sort of in a sales mindset. So here's some simple things to consider. Always dress well. If you're going to a meeting, you're going to meet somebody, always dress well. Okay, I came here. I went in the mirror like 4 times and made sure my tie was straight. Hopefully it still is. Right? Because I only had 15 seconds. I don't want you all to not like me in 15 seconds. Smile. Most important thing is to smile. Right? It welcomes people in. These are not hard things. You are really smart people, so these are really easy things. But you just have, you may or may not be used to doing all these things. Be confident. If you're trying to start a company or get a job or, do some charitable work or go get some donations, if you don't feel like when you walk in, whatever it is that you want to accomplish that day, you first must believe in your mind that you will do it before you can do it. If you don't think you can do it, it isn't going to work for you. So be confident. Don't simply answer yes or no. Sort of expand on it, talk a little bit, and kind of in that same line. Be the person that initiates a conversation. Make it, ask, the easiest thing is to ask open-ended questions about whoever it is that you're talking to. All right, so these are some things that have worked for me. I'm not saying they'll work for you. I don't have any answers, really. I just know what's worked for me. When you're young, find someone that you think is successful and that you admire, and then just do everything they do. And so you will eventually then, kind of work and find your own style. But it's really helpful to, why not follow somebody you think is successful? Because it's obviously worked for them. This is really, this one I can't explain to you why this works, but for me it's worked. Always look for ways to help others, and the most important thing is never ask for anything in return. All right, never say, okay, I'll do this for you if you do that for me. No, just go help people. Just go help them. So make your life about helping others. It'll take care of yourself. I've never had to look for a job. I've never asked for a raise. I've never done anything, and life just sort of, I just focused on helping everybody else out and doing the best I could. And 30 years later, it's kind of worked, 35 years, I don't know, I don't want to add that up. It's kind of worked out okay. Always go out of your way to be friendly to people. You never know who you might meet. So the last one is, why not you, why not now? I love this saying. There was my favorite basketball team was, for the longest time, was Orlando Magic, and they had a very young team, and a couple years ago they got unexpectedly good. They almost won the NBA championship, and like, well, you guys aren't ready for this. And the owner came into the players and said, why not us, why not now? Why not? You can have all kinds of excuses why something that you want to do, you can't do. Well, the laws are tough, or, I'm too young, or I don't know this person, or, no, why not you, why not now? And so the way that I've always looked at starting a company was pretty much off of this philosophy. And I looked at it this way. I usually had a job that I quit to start a company. So I'd say, okay, what's the upside to starting a company? Well, the upside is it'll be really successful. Can I live with that? Well, sure I can live with that. That'd be great. What's the downside? Well, the downside is that it'll fail. And what happens if it fails? Well, I'm going to get a job. Well, what's the job going to be like? Well, it's going to be kind of like the job I have right now. So it's, well, geez, I'm living the worst case scenario right now. I have no upside, I'm living the worst case scenario. So that's what always prompted me when an opportunity came to take the chance and go for it. And at the end, this is the dash part. So that's when I was born, and there's a dash. And I don't know if you do this, but you know, fortunately there's no date to the other side of the dash. But when my dad died, there was a date to the other side of the dash. And I remember his friend, really close friend, did the funeral service for him. And my dad died young. He's 68. I mean, he was healthy and just got a really bad cancer and died. And I remember what his friend Joe Pontebianco said. He said, you know, the date to the left and the date to the right don't matter. What matters is the dash. And Fred, my dad, had a really good dash. It was a really good dash. So life, if you think about it, is about that dash and making the most of that dash. And the last thing I'll leave you with is the reason that I've always taken risks. Now my risks were in business. Your risks might be in other endeavors. I mean, including Deerwalk. I mean, you think about the risks of, I think about the likelihood of a guy from Brecksville, Ohio, starting a business with a guy outside of Kathmandu, Nepal, and standing in front of you. I mean, I'm not even, sometimes I just think to myself, how did this work out? I have no idea how this worked out. But I always felt like one day it'll be close to the end and I'll be reflecting back. And I'm probably not going to say, I wish I didn't take that chance. I'm probably going to say, I wish I took that chance. So I don't want there to be chances that I could have taken left on the table. Right? I'm not going to regret failing. I'm going to regret not taking some opportunity, some chance at something. And for me, that's been that's been my dash. And it's up to you. Think about it, though. You're in your dash right now, and make the most of it. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Jeff. I'm enjoying my dash right now. One of the thousands of days of my dash, one of those days. So there is no number one and number two in our management team. We are equal. Jeff was just, he's humble, he was just saying that we are executive team of in our company 4. And we are all equal and no one reports to no one, and it's just that we work as a team. That's the most important part. You know, it's a very flat organization. Out of 170 people, it's sort of flat. Right? There is no appointment needed. Anyone can go anywhere. Anyone can do anything. It's a very flat, flexible organization. That's what we have built here, and that's what our previous organization, T2 Hawkeye, was. So I just wanted to put that before starting my thing. So let's start one simple question. So most of you are here under 30, right? Most of. So you have one thing we don't have. You really have one thing. That is your age. So we are, I'm 50, he's 55, right? You have 20 years that we don't have. You can do amazing things those 20 years, and how powerful is that? Now I look back and I think that I should have done it differently, but you never know, right? You always can look back. You can't plan things. So That is the most powerful thing you have. And how do you define the success? I always wonder about this, what I want to be. How do I define success? So if any one of you had that question, you had to think for 30 seconds, for example. We don't have 30 seconds, it's 5 seconds. You have to define. When do you think that you are successful in a day? There are hundreds of thousands of moments, right, in your life, right? Every minute, every hour, you have a lot of opportunities. So when do you feel good? When do you feel that you are successful? To me, I feel successful when I'm liked by others. I really want to be liked by others. I want to be a likable person. It's always good to be. I do not want to be disliked. When I go to the crowd, I always challenge myself. I want to present over here so that everyone likes me. So if you all think that way, right? My goal is I want to make sure I want to be liked by everybody. So then, when you think that way, then you'll be doing a lot of good things. You'll be taking care of others, right? You will try to be nice. You will ask good questions about others, right? So I give you a simple example. Sometimes some people come in our culture particularly, and sometimes we ask too many questions. Sometimes we don't ask too many questions. If the question we ask make other people better, we don't want to ask, right? If some people say that I have a great job, right? And we just say, okay, weather is bad, I have to go home. You just walk out, right? And if someone is saying different things that makes you feel better, then you ask a lot of questions. It's about you, right? So you always should think about it when you are dealing with people, right? If someone comes with some story, you need to have some interest. You need to ask a lot of questions, right? So that immediately you will be liked by the other person. So that is always my goal. I just want. Every day I want to compete. First thing that I start from my own family. That I really want to be the cool dad. That both of my daughters like me. I always want to make sure that my wife likes me. Same thing in the office. I want to make sure that everyone likes me. All of you have the hard skill. The hard skill is about what grades you have gotten in schools, how good you have been in mathematics particularly, right? The hard skill can be quantified. All the hard skill can be quantified. The soft skill cannot be quantified. Soft skill, the way for the success is that one of the most important, literally you can say it is interpersonal skill. Okay. It could be a cat, right? If you are confident enough, it could be a lion. It's all about confidence, Couple of things. The first thing I teach during orientation to my employee in Kathmandu is that you should learn how to shake your hands. Most of the time in Nepal is that I try to shake him hand, they just give their hand like this. Do whatever you want to do. Just give the hand, right? I'm supposed to do how long I'm supposed to hold, the other person is not even reacting, right? So when you are shaking this way, you sort of know that when to take the hands off, right? Other person is holding too. So if you're doing like this, how long you are supposed to be holding? So first of all, you should learn firm handshake, really firm. That shows some level of confidence. Like it's not Western or Eastern thing, right? Last 50 years probably we started shaking the hands. Before that we all said namaste, right? So this is the thing. If you are copying, let's copy complete 100%. Don't copy 50%, right? We are copying them shaking the hands, but we don't know how. Let's copy that way, right? Whatever culture we are copying, let's copy all the way, right? Not the middle of the road. So confidence is that definitely it starts with shaking hands, and when you are talking, just looking into eyes, right? Look at the most powerful man in the world. How polite he is, right? I mean, you definitely can be very polite. That is so important. If you are polite, if you are kind, even if you do a couple of mistakes, people just ignore, right? They just look at you polite, but this is a very kind, nice guy, right? Let's do something. I'm just waiting an example just to show you guys. Look at this graduation ceremony, right? Everyone is looking at, right? You get the picture, right? So which person you notice? Only one person, right? There's nothing wrong with that dress, right? But the example I'm trying, right here, Jeff. This problem is too big in Nepal. I'm sorry, I'm Nepali, but I mean, we really have to. We copy so many things from Western country, but there are certain good things we don't copy, right? I mean, they definitely have certain good things that they have rule of law. I mean, definitely rule of law, and if anyone break the law, and they're, you know, they will be broken too if anyone break the law. That's the one thing you really need to realize, that in this country, you know, there are so many things going on. This culture is growing up. 50 years from now, I won't be alive, but many of you will be here, and things will be different around here, right? Everyone will be following the rule of law, and everyone will have the civic sense, right? We'll go outside of the embassy over there, people eat and just throw something on the street, right? We don't have those things. That is the kind of thing you can teach, right? This very basic thing. So this will be more for the executive leader or whoever it is, right? I mean, to be a leader, one thing you have to relentless follow up. I call it a management. You know, if you constantly follow up, you ask someone to do something, and if you do not follow up, that will get lost. Right? You apply for a job. If you do not constantly follow up, that will get lost because hundreds of people are applying for the same job. So follow up is a really important tool for all of you. We all have decisions to make every day, every hour, every minute, right? Even to come over here, so many people were invited, maybe a couple of them missed. I'm sure a couple of them missed. They had to make the decision, right? They had to make the decision whether to go there, right? It's sort of boring, a lot of work. You have to go to gate, you have to get checked, everything, or just hang around somewhere with a girlfriend or boyfriend. You know, why go there? It's all kind of decision you have to make every minute, right? So someone probably may have made the right decision, not coming over here. Who knows, right? The future will change, right? They may have gone somewhere, they may have met someone, they may have landed a job. Who knows? You never know. The thing is that you have to be very decisive sometimes, all the time. You just have to make decisions. Don't be on dilemma. If you have to make decision, just make the decision. So, ek thakkar 14 buddhi bhane Nepali ma thaha cha, haina? You do the mistake, you learn a lot of things. So you just have to make the decision. What is the worst that can happen? You're just going to learn out of it. So taking responsibility. One thing you feel great about it, that you'll be leader, you'll be team player, and you'll be working with other people. Taking responsibility is really important. The thing is that if something goes bad, you just say that I screwed up. That goes long way. The other person is going to say, no, I screwed up. There will be people lining up saying they screwed up. If you start that. If you say that I didn't screw up, that is screwed up, that person is going to point somebody else. I didn't screw up, that is screwed up, that's good. Right? It's going to be a very positive environment. If you are one of them saying that, okay, this is my mistake, and other person will feel bad, no, actually it's not my mistake, that's you know, this is not your mistake, my mistake. Someone is going to take the responsibility. Right? So you just have to take the responsibility. Whatever you do, right, you figure it out. Okay, you just need to know that, to say that I screwed up, I couldn't do it. You know, take the responsibility for the mistakes. That will go a long way. This overused word, teamwork. Everyone, every conference you go, every business school you go, right, everywhere, and every big guy come, everyone talk about teamwork. Everyone talks. I mean, that's what it's basically overused. The team, everywhere team. The most powerful and successful team is when there is a respect. When you respect your team member, the team is going to last long. The corporate partnership is the worst example in Nepal. I had a couple of corporate partnerships in the past over here before going US. There is no regulation over here. One partner always screw the other. I mean, I was screwed a couple of times. I have many of my friends who were screwed, right? There is no regulation. I mean, that is the one thing we can learn. I mean, in US, many partners, some of the partners might try to screw, but the regulation is so strong. Now that has been in the blood now. Everyone knows when they grow up, they say that, okay, we can't screw up we can't break the law. I mean, breaking law is like a big crime, right? We can't do, oh my God, you're breaking the law, right? I mean, everyone goes away. Over here, this thing. So you are the young leader. One thing you should realize that you should never deceive your partner. You should never do that. If you are a business partner, you should really have the maximum respect you can give it to the business partner. Right? You always need to think that, you always need to realize the partner, that the partner is needed, partner is better than you. You have to express that. If both, there are two partners, if one is saying you are better, other is saying you are better, that's both better, right? Very complimentary. You just have to say that, you be the first one to say that I can't do without you. Always be the first one when you are in the teamwork. You always say, I can't do it alone. I need you. Then it will come back. I would not be able to do in D2. We had a couple of other Jeff and a couple of other partners, right? There was no way I could do it. And at the same time, I always think that I was nothing. I would never do anything. At the same time, they returned back. Oh, we would not be able to do, because you have the connection in Nepal. You got all the engineers, right? And you are engineer yourself. We did it because of you. At the same time, I always feel like it's not nothing me. I don't have the arrogance inside. I'm nothing. I still feel that I'm nothing. That is all because of them. It is actually because of them. I didn't know the market. I didn't know the country. I didn't know anything. Actually, they helped me out. At the same time, they always go above and beyond, saying that Rudra, you are great. They always say that, and they say you did it. And that is the kind of partnership you really need. Working as a partner, you can't do it alone. Partnership is required. Your small team, every employee in the company. If you are working in the company, always think that I'm nothing alone. I'm nothing. If you start that way, that I'm really nothing alone. I need people to work with me. I need to work somebody else. If you think that way, you can change. You can change your organization. You can change your community. You can do a lot of good things. I'm 50. I still can think. I don't feel like I'm still a lot of days. If you can do in one day, in 1 month, in 1 year, you can do a lot of things. You don't need 100 years to change anything. You really can do a lot of good things you can do. You don't need a lot of years to do good things. So just start with it. Start with a couple of notions. Let me finish one more, then I'll just summarize. So, thinking about the soft skill, to summarize the whole thing, the way I started is that be the very likable person. I hope I proved myself as likable now. I mean, 80, never 100%, maybe 80-20, right? Okay, this is the kind of person maybe I can hang around with you. I always want to feel before hiring someone, can I go to bar with this guy, spend 3 hours, right? Can I do that? If I can't do that, I don't want to work with that person. Oh, clumsy, oh my God, right? So I really want to have someone, we can talk stuff, right? We can have 3-4 drinks, right? Really talk things, never out of topics. I really want to be that way, right? Don't be stiff, they really loosen, really. We really become, our likable factor goes away, right? When you have the arrogance, when you think, right, I'm better, we should not think that way. You should be confident, but you always, there is someone better than me, always. No one is number one in the world, no one is. There is always somebody else better than you, there is always, right? If you think that way, right, and the arrogance goes away, you are an ordinary person, you are nothing, right? All of a sudden you are a likable person, you like others, you respect others, you are kind. The whole world is beautiful after that. Really nice, you will taste that thing. That's how the whole thing starts. And we are, as a team, so if you want a little bit thing, one of the things you wanted to know, what we have done for the community in Nepal is that we have done in small ways, right? We started D2 Hawkeye. That was before that, the IT infrastructure was not in Kathmandu, right? From D2 Hawkeye, hundreds of D2 Hawkeye graduates have gone to the US. We have a huge network in Nepal now, right? I'm very well connected with all of them, right? Similarly from Deerwalk, right? So many people will, after 3 years, they will graduate. It's just like college. Deerwalk and D2 Hawkeye is just college. Very few people stay after 3 years, right? They work for 3 years, they go for higher study in US, Europe, somewhere else. So the people that they have worked with us, have done very well. That is the way we have contributed. And hopefully, sharing some of our experience today, we have contributed to some extent. And if you have to get out of today, as Jeff said, as I'm repeating again, just be the person. Just always think that there is always someone else better than you. Always think that way. If you think that way, you can do a lot of amazing things in the world. And for your life, always think somebody else is better than I'm not the best. I'm the best. One God. it's done. And you always think that way. It's an amazing thing. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
My question is like, is failure a guarantee for success? Like, will I be compensated for the failure that I had today, despite of my hard work? Will I get compensated in the future?
Yeah, I would say you will be compensated by the amount of experience you gain by the failure. That's the only compensation. There is no other compensation. You fail, you will learn a lot, right? Next time you start something, right? There is less chance of less chance of having another failure, right?
Sir, but my question is like, you fail, and suppose I fail, then obviously I will get demotivated. Maybe for a short period of time, I will get demotivated. Yeah. So what do you have any tips to overcome that bad feeling of demotivation?
Yeah, let me explain that one to you. Okay, so I figure I probably, if you describe failure as making a wrong decision, I probably failed 2 times out of 3. If I'm lucky, I'm right 1 time out of 3. So I can, when I fail, I can have 2 reactions. I can either react that, oh, God, I can't believe it. Or the other reaction is, well, I succeed 1 time out of 3, so if I failed, I'm one step closer to the success. View your failure is not a failure, it's just, it's a step to the success. You're 1 step closer to the success. Okay.
How personally satisfied you are, and how much satisfied you are seeing the progress of your company that has been made so far?
Oh, yeah, I have to tell you, this has been the time of my life. You know, when we started this company, I thought I was sort of semi-retired. And then Rudra called me one Friday, and by Tuesday we had started a company. It was about 2.5 years ago. And this has been the time of my life. The way I describe it, this is my retirement. I mean, I don't have to be doing this anymore, but I can't see myself doing anything. I already know I'll be doing this till they won't let me on the plane anymore. And I love, because of all the young folks at Deerwalk, it's given me like a whole new energy, and I'd give it the highest mark, whatever it is. I'd give it beyond the highest mark.
Yeah, to me, the big challenge I had, I really wanted to have 1,000 IT engineers in Nepal, right? I don't know whether I can make it that up together or not, right? That's the goal. So I'm very satisfied. Every time we have more engineers, more revenue, nothing is better than that. We have, because of our previous company, we have few bucks in bank, right? We can just sort of retire. That will be enough money for me. I don't spend a lot of money. You can see that the way I dress and all of that. So I don't need a lot. I can come back to Nepal. I still have my parental property, right? My retirement will be much cheaper than his retirement. He's going to be retired in US. It costs a lot. In Nepal, right? It doesn't cost you. Just 10,000 rupees a month. I can retire easily. So the satisfaction is just to see the company growing. It's amazing. Really, I mean, some of you start something. I mean, every day is like a really great.
Let me say one last thing about starting a company, just so you know. It's a lot like raising a child, right? And when you haven't done this so many times, what's fun about it is you don't know what it's going to be like when it grows up. Much like watching your child grow, you don't know from the little baby what the personality, how they're going to branch out. And it's an amazing thing to experience, just to watch it all grow up, and that's the satisfaction.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rudra. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you guys all for coming. I don't want to say too much because I want to leave you with their words in your ears, not with mine, but this is just very briefly exactly what we're trying to do here at the embassy, to show the kind of synergy that we can make when we put Nepali ideas together and American ideas together, the way that we can kind of grow both of our countries. So this is a perfect example of that. I hope you've all learned something. I hope whatever you've learned, more importantly, you go out and you share with your peers, with you guys, go back out to Kathmandu. So thank you again very much for coming.